Hey chef, any tips on becoming a better cook in the restaurant? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 4, maybe 5 suggestions on how to become a better restaurant cook on this episode of Hey, what's going on everybody? Jimmy here with The Other Chef. On this channel, we talk about the food service industry. We also do some product and food demos, as well as check out the eats and drinks in the local area, starting with Portland, Oregon. So if you're interested in some of those topics, consider subscribing. So a while back on the channel, I posted a video on tips on how to become a better chef. And there's been a lot of feedback on that I should put a video out on tips on becoming a better restaurant cook. Now, the reason why I mentioned restaurant cook is because there's a certain sense of urgency and also accountability when you are working in a restaurant, because you're there to perform and execute the plan and the dishes and the menu every day correctly, perfectly, to the best of your ability. Versus being at home, you kind of have that a little bit of leeway of maybe this knife cut doesn't have to be perfect, or the presentation doesn't have to be correct. So here are 4 tips on becoming a better cook. Number 1, mise en place. Now, I've mentioned this term many times, but I cannot emphasize it enough. Mise en place, your organization, making sure you know where everything is located within arm's distance. One of the best things I learned about mise en place was one of my chefs told me, I want you to write down your entire list, prep your list, and throw it away, and then all of a sudden continue doing it over and over again until you get your bearings correct and knowing what you need to do and where everything is placed. Another thing as one of my chefs have done was he actually blindfolded one of us to ensure that he says, I want you to make this dish. And then basically everyone is kind of knowing where everything is at, because it's so second nature. Like, for example, my knife is always here, my salt and pepper will always be here, and so on and so on. So mise en place is a very powerful organizational tool. Number 2, seasoning. Now, what I mean by that is you always want to taste your food. Everything you do in the industry, whether if it's a technique or if it's something very simple as tasting your food, is just as important, because you don't want a guest to automatically put salt on their food before even tasting it. So always taste your food, season it perfectly. This took me a very long time to be able to develop that technique of having a good palate. Whether if it's, does it need acid? Does it need sweetness? Does it need saltiness? Whatever flavor profile that you're aiming for. Number 3, have a good sense of urgency and multitasking. The reason why these two work hand in hand is because, let's face it, the restaurant industry is a very stressful environment. It can be. One of the things that could make or break you is that if you're not organized and you don't have the ability to multitask. For example, if orders just keep on coming in and you have no way of working those orders. For example, there was once time I was working a saute station and I had 4 entrees that I was literally in charge of, and the person that was working alongside of me was completely inorganized, and it kind of ruined my flow and my zen, and he kept taking stuff off of my station. It was to the point that I had to let that guy know, hey man, you can't touch my mise en place, like you're ruining my zen, So one of the things that the chef did was ensure everybody had to do the checklist, just like what I said on step number 1. Just like what I said was build your checklist and make sure that you follow that checklist. And eventually that cook got a little better and was able to work symbiotically alongside with me, because he was running the grill station and I was running the saute station. And most importantly, number 4, showing up on time. I know that this is something very, very elementary and simple, but believe it or not, if you show up on time, or even better yet, you show up a little bit earlier to kind of get yourself into that mindset that you know that you're going to be serving 200 to 300 people, or whatever, you know, type of establishment that you're running or working in. If you get into that mindset and you show up on time with the right tools, clean uniform, you have your checklist already ready to go, it's going to be fine. It's going to be all right. Now, the other thing is, on the flip side, is that if you know you got your station the night before completely tore up, and you know that you need to come in the day after a little bit early to kind of get yourself set up, then have that discipline so that you can set yourself up to be successful. And bonus tip number 5, one of the things that I will also tell people is that sometimes it's okay to slow down in order to speed up. The reason why I say this is because in the restaurant industry, seconds equals minutes if you really don't understand it. For example, if you're telling someone, hey, I got a steak out in like a minute, it really means outside that it's going to take them roughly 5 minutes to get that steak, because yes, it's going to take you 1 minute to cook that steak, but you have to also remember garnishing, plating, serving the food, and then running it out to wherever. So keep that in mind, that you might say 1 minute, but it really means 3 to 5 minutes. So hopefully those are some tips that will help you become a better cook. Notice I said cook, not chef, because chef in my previous video, and for those who want to review, check out the link below. Being a chef is more like being a manager or a leader. Hey, thanks for watching. If you loved this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications on future videos that are about to come up right now on the channel. I'm going to start a series now on focusing on technique, and also we're going to start checking out some of the coffee shops in the Portland metro area in the next couple of weeks, since now the winter season has come upon us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.